Banshee Season 3, Episode 6, We Were All Someone Else Yesterday, Review. So not too much happened this episode. Everyone is trying to cope with the death of Shaban the best way they can, some better than others, while Chaning's on the run, with Hood coming close to getting his revenge. Here's my review. It starts off with Hood at the cemetery during Shaban's funeral, and he remembers when he first arrived to the town of Banshee and stopped at the bar to get a drink. The real Sheriff Hood was there, and some of Proctor's goons showed up with guns to rob the place. Hood imagined if nobody in that bar got killed that day in the shootout. Then Hood imagined he saw Carrie, Gordon, and Dava at the diner eating together as a happy family, and Hood never got involved. Once Hood snapped out of it, he goes to Shaban's mobile home and starts crying, then trashes the place in anger. Later, Proctor and Rebecca go back to the Amish community for his mother's funeral. Rebecca's parents ask her to come back home because they forgive her, but she doesn't forgive them and she never will, so Rebecca leaves. Afterwards, Emily, Brock's ex-wife, comforts Proctor about the passing of his mother, and they end up having sex together, and Rebecca becomes jealous. I'm sure if Brock finds out, he will lose it. Then you see Dava pickpocket some guy, and she meets an older kid named Charlie, who invites her to a house party, so Dava and her friend go. Charlie better not mess with Dava, or else Hood will come gunning for him. An FBI tactical team is now in charge of finding Chayton, and they locate his campsite in the woods, so Hood and Job team up and find Chain before the FBI team can catch him first. Both walk into his tent while Chain is sleeping. Hood has his gun on him, and I was yelling at the TV for him to shoot him. This was his chance to kill Chain, but instead, Hood grabs a knife and puts it to Chayton's throat and he wakes up. Hood stabs Chain in the leg and twists it back and forth. Suddenly another Redbone comes into the tent and attacks Job. They start fighting, and this distracts Hood, and Chain attacks him, and they start going at it. Job shoots the Redbone, and Chain runs away. Hood chases after him through the woods, but loses him for a minute. Then Deputy Amy comes across Chain, draws her gun, and tries to get him to surrender. She says, "You murdered a cop." He replies, "It's not murder, it's war." I'm yelling at her to shoot him, but she doesn't either. Chain ends up choking her and is seconds away from killing her, but Hood shows up and shoots Chain a few times and saves Amy. But Chain jumps off a huge cliff into the lake below and gets away. So it ends with Hood back at Shaban's trailer home, and he cleans up the mess he made earlier, and he imagines himself again the first day he arrived in the town of Banshee, but he is waiting at the gas station. Shaban is there, and Hood looks at her, smiles and says hi. She smiles back and replies, "Hi yourself." And the real Sheriff Hood is also there too. Then Joe pulls up in a car, and Hood jumps in and they drive away, and leaves the town of Banshee for good. So basically Hood imagines how things would be different, if people's lives would have been better if he would have never showed up to Banshee, and I'm guessing they would. A lot of people wouldn't have died, but then we wouldn't have such an awesome show. Later you see Chain emerge from the water, still alive with a few bullet holes in him. Hood should have killed him when he had the chance. So that was my review of episode 6, We Were All Someone Else Yesterday. I really liked the black and white flashbacks. They were a mind trip. So I give this episode a solid 8 out of 10 rating. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this episode.